Well, I just got back from New Zealand where I spent 3 days visiting Grinding Gear Games, the creators of Path of Exile 1 and 2. And I got to say, it was pretty much nothing like what I expected. When I got there, I kind of thought, because I've been in Blizzard campus a couple times for Diablo back in the day and testing like their expansion pack and whatnot. So when I arrived there, I sort of assumed, with August being the upcoming patch, and there was some stuff I was able to see, and we'll have an interview on that actually will be released once the date arrives where they release their own information. We can actually show all that. But I kind of thought when I got there that the purpose of the trip was going to be, hey DM, we want you to play test something or check out new
Uh-huh.
content, what have you. That was kind of like not at all actually the purpose of the trip. In fact, when I got there,
Who could have guessed? Who could have guessed?
there was literally no agenda at all for me. They just said like, hey, we just thought it would be cool to have you come check it out. You've expressed interest in like music and art and stuff like that. So here's the studio. And they literally just gave me a key and told me to walk around and more or less talk to anybody I want.
Now that is insane. Like Ubisoft would never do that for very obvious reasons. Same would, I think, go for Blizzard and Activision. And EA, forget it. This is insane. this is not only insane. This is funny. Having the YouTuber and streamer just walking around talking to your employees. This is hilarious. I love it. And that's why also I kind of trust GGG, because they are just people making games they like. And that's why they can do things like that. And it's not like, oh, he might see things that come out 5 years from now, because it's not. Things come out in a couple of months. And it's fine if he talks about things that he's seen, at least vaguely.
So being, an ARPG guy, and in particular lately a Path of Exile 2 enthusiast, and never really getting the opportunity to get the run of the kingdom. I mean, when you do some of these other tours and some of the other studios, typically it's very guided. It's like a guide. It's like, and this is the cafeteria, and this is the dev department or whatever, but you're with like the community manager or whatnot. So just being, kind of cut free, and then well, see you later, and they just kind of go do their own thing, and then there I am like in this office and everyone's just like working. Was definitely an experience, and like I say, not at all what I expected. So at first it was a little bit confusing for me and what actually am I supposed to do, but then I kind of got into the hang of it. And I was supposed to only be there 2 days, but I asked, since I had 4 extra days for personal stuff. I checked out the Hobbitown stuff. We'll talk about all that later. I'll talk about it on the live stream.
Nice.
So I got some photos and stuff. But I asked, I was like, can I take one of my extra personal days and just come back? Because I wasn't able to complete everything I wanted to do in just 2 days. And then instead I had 3 days since I asked for an extra day. And I'll give you a quick rundown of what to expect. I was able to talk to more or less every department. I think I talked to like the programming guys, and I think I missed like the lighting and shader department, but I was able to talk to like music, audio, environmental, map design, balance guys. I was able to talk to pretty much everybody. And out of those, there was 5 different like in their studio recorded interviews I was able to get my hands on. Including I interviewed the music director, Camille. I really wanted to do that. That was the first thing I did when I got a chance. Is I go, where's the music director? So I went and talked to him, and we have like an hour long. They'll be boiled down because we're kind of cutting through it and getting the best bits of these. They'll be boiled down to probably like 40-minute interview or something that'll be posted on this channel. Got to talk to the audio and sound design people in relation to that. I got to talk to the guy who actually like makes maps and layouts and how he actually does that and designs boss arenas, etc. And then the environmental and art people that like piece together the art and all that once they have the map design and layout. It was really kind of interesting getting to talk to everybody, because what I didn't really realize about the place was, and I'm just going to kind of ramble in this video with some thoughts here, and then I'll do more of like actual a breakdown of the trip. And when I have more time, I just arrived at like 1 a.m. this morning. It's been 9 hours since I got off my 31-hour trip to get back to Alaska. But what I didn't realize about the office is, one, it's not a massive studio. It's actually like, it's in a 3-story building that's shared with like there's like a law office and like one other random accounting. I think it's an accounting office.
That's interesting, and kind of what I expect from that company. And the thing is, you don't need a giant team to run Path Excel 1 and 2. You don't. But at this point, I think they're a triple-digit company, and that's enough. It's not like, the Diablo 2 team, 9,000 people, and the game is complete garbage because there are too many people, and no one is, there's not. If you have 9,000 people working on a game, there will be miscommunication. People will not know what other people do, and it's a clusterfuck. If you have just 100 people, it's way easier to work together and make something great.
Office or something, and they're just like in the second floor and a bit of the third floor, and then they have like you go outside and you go around, and then they have like their studio where you can record stuff. So like they don't even own like the whole building. It's a section of the office, and there's 240 employees there, and more or less
240, way less than 9,000 for Diablo 4, which is, to be fair, not hard to do. Not having 9,000 people work on a game is not hard to do.
The vibe that I constantly got was it is like a.
By the way, 9,000 people, that's a small town. Well, is it even a small town at that point? 9,000? Yes, it's still. A village goes up, I think, to 3,000. So, yeah, 9. It's a lot of people. It's a small town. Like, sure, in my part of town, there live more people in it. But 9,000, that's still a huge number. A huge number.
LAN party. That was how I described it to myself after kind of checking it out. It's just a room with a shitload of people with a shitload of desks. You got like Jonathan and Mark in the middle, and there should be some B-roll I should be able to show on the live stream and etc. I can kind of maybe show some of the office here, but really it's just a desk in the middle, like an office that's like John and Mark, and then surrounding them is like all of the other people, and they're kind of roughly positioned with like the guys that would interact with each other. So you have like the environmental and art people that interact with like the map layout guys, because they kind of like make the maps together like there, so they can like walk over to each other. And then the audio guys are all like upstairs, and they have like their own area, because all the audio guys are like a bunch of bros that just really get along together and make good music and all that. And
interesting, you have to have the audio guys all upstairs, so no sound from people walking or whatever from upstairs gets into their audio chambers, so they don't get interrupted or have any interference from the outside for their work. Because doing audio work it's not complicated. It is, but that's not the thing. It's that you can't have, outside noises interfere, because that makes it way harder to adjust things and record it. And there was a fly. So having them all upstairs is really good.
And little bit of a spoiler here, they actually let me voice my own monster, which is
nice.
Awesome. So I kind of like, rah, just like really cringy, screaming into the mic type stuff that they managed to turn into something actually usable. And that will be arriving in 0.3. So you guys can actually kill me in the game. Pretty hilarious. But yeah, so the office is all like very close knit. And what I was mostly surprised by being there is like, there's none of this, how to put it, like red tape stuff where it's let me send to this department, and this department approves it and sends it to this department. You have like a guy who just have an idea, and instead what he'll do is he'll just walk over to the guy that's like the other department and be like, hey, do you think this is possible? And then they'd be like, oh yeah, I like that idea. And then they'll just walk into John and Mark's office, like a shared office there, and be like, hey, can we do this? Like there is no setting meetings. There's literally not a meeting room. There's just a lunch room. It's just everyone is like a hive. Everyone's just kind of like going here and going there, and just talking to each other. It's just immediately like a guy will come in. I was sitting in John and Mark's office for a bit there, and I was just kind of like observing because I want to know what this looked like. And people are constantly coming in like, "Hey, we're working. What do you think about this?" And be like,
That sounds like a really nice workplace environment. It sounds really, really nice. I like it. That would be basically the kind of studio that I would create if I would have the money to create a gaming studio. Which, if I had the money, I would do. Like, I literally would. I always had kind of, the fantasy of, making games. But I'm too. I don't have the patience to learn all the tools to make a game. So I would be best being a game director. At least that's my opinion. But yeah, that's the kind of studio that I would create, I think.
"Yeah, well, I like that. You can do that." And then the other guy be like, "Oh no, you know what? I don't like that. That's a bad idea for this reason." And then they'll be like, "Well, how about this?" And then they'll kind of like workshop it. It's like, "Oh yeah, I do like that." So it was much more. It was way more organic than I actually thought. I don't know why I got in my head a little bit that like these game dev companies are all like you send something and then like 3 weeks later you read the email and it gets approved by the next manager and then it goes somewhere out there. But it was like the antithesis of that entirely, and it was very relieving in a way because after getting to talk to everybody, there's two things that were abundantly clear. One of which is the only issue that they have at all in the office is just time constraint, just getting it done. Like there's no like you go
Okay.
around and you talk to people and it's like this guy doesn't know what he's doing, this guy doesn't know. It's like everyone there is like obviously fucking good at what they've done and they've been there like 10 years. Like it's not just like, hey, how are you doing, bud? Oh well, man, my name's Bob and I've been here like 15 minutes. It's like everyone has been there like for the long like years and years and years and years and years. And that was impressive to me to see. And number two is that they actually play the game. So every time you talk to somebody, it's like,
Which is important. Game developers that play their own games. Not like, Ubisoft, Blizzard, that don't play their own games, and you can tell because the games aren't good. Because they aren't. They literally aren't.
they have a favorite. They either play PoE 1 or they play PoE 2, but everyone's like, oh yeah, I played 600 hours. I've played 1,000 hours. I've played 5,000 hours. Like, there's no one there who's been like, yeah, like I kind of know the game. I'm just a really good like environmental artist. It's like, no, I play the game actively every league. And so I know what I'm actually doing, both from the game point of view, but also from, like a programmer or artist or audio point of view. Like people are knowledgeable, but then also skilled in their department, which was I was gonna use the word relieving. I mean, it might sound weird because it's like, who is this YouTuber guy going and like being relieved? It's not. It's not like I have like I was coming with some preconceived notion or judgment or anything like that. Which is like, oh, you better live up to my standards. It's more just like I got there and it's like, oh, thank God. Like there is studios when you talk to the people where it's like, no, these people are like actually passionate about what they do.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you look at the gaming industry today, like let's be honest, Blizzard. Back in the day, every Blizzard employee, that's what they said, was a gamer. Every Blizzard employee, everyone. And today's Blizzard, they very obviously aren't. You can tell by the quality of the gameplay, which is not good. It's not. And the quality of the systems. There's so much stuff in the Blizzard games that just waste your time. It's literally just wasting your time. There's nothing behind it that makes you even think that it's useful for anything. It's just wasting your time so you can do something that you actually want to do. And that's just annoying. That's just bad design. So thankfully, GGG is different. And that's why the games are so good. Even if they have problems, the problems getting fixed. And that's what it's all about.
And I know that there's been like a whole bunch of concern related to 0.2, and we just got off like negative press about stuff, and then there was time delays with PoE1 and PoE2 and all of that, and you can see that in the office, like it's apparent to the people that work there that like time constraints are like the biggest factor. Like they're trying to play catch up. They're trying to get
Yes,
everything done. And there was some of the people are not as worried about it. Like, so, it depends upon who you ask. Because some people are like,
sure. Other people have more to do in a shorter time than others, simply because of the kind of work they do, what they have to achieve and do that. The sound guys are not as pressured, creating new sounds for monsters or whatever, than, I don't know, people creating the mechanics of a new league. They're different levels of, what to do and how fast you have to have the things ready. That's just how things are.
less in the pipeline. There's a pipeline that goes to this department and this department, this department, etc. And the audio guys are always the guys getting screwed because they're the very last ones to see everything last. And in some hilarious story while I'm there, and I think this comes out in one of the interviews, they're talking about how there was this moment where Jonathan had an interview, and it was like a 2-hour interview that needed to be up live, but it was 30 minutes beforehand they found out the processing alone was going to take longer than the 30 minutes before it needed to be live. So there's some pretty funny stories mixed in throughout here. And this is going to be kind of a long ramble. So I'll just explain the rest of it on the live stream. But I just wanted to give you a quick, I'm back. We have tons of content that's going to be coming up here that my editor's digging through. Each one of these interviews is like multiple terabytes because it's recorded in
Terabytes? That's a lot. What the hell? Oh my god, that's a lot.
raw format, multiple cameras, 4K resolution. So it's taking them forever to dig
Oh
through.
my
But we should have
god.
at least 2 of those, I would hope, this week. And then obviously I'll be live as of the posting of this video and answering questions, etc. Things I cannot talk about until they release the information themselves is anything 0.3 related, but I can answer. They didn't even have me sign an NDA. They just said, please don't be an asshole. Like, just please don't spoil everything. Come
That's great. They are working on a trust level, which is basically unheard of. I mean, when was the last time you heard a company go with a level of trust, saying don't be a dick, and not having you sign a contract? That's massive.
take a look at everything, see what you think, and then release it when obviously they get the chance to release the information first. So I will answer anything you want to know about The Office. They didn't care. They really gave me the run of the kingdom to just check anything out or what it was like. New Zealand in general. New Zealand was fucking awesome. It is the first place I've actually been where I thought to myself I could 100% live here. Like it was perfect temperature. It was in the mid of their winter.
But not of the government. The country, yes. The people, yes. Not the government.
And in Fahrenheit for my American bros, it was like 30 to 50 degrees depending upon one part of day. And the height of it goes to like mid 80s. So it's like Alaska in the summer, in their summer, which I love. Alaskan summers are fantastic. But then the winter just is like it stops right before it would start snowing, basically. So it was just awesome. A little way busier than I would have assumed. And also
So kind of like Germany, at least where the parts I live, because we don't get a lot of snow. And if we get snow, it's mostly gone within 24 hours.
the trees were there's something about the trees I really loved. Like the trees were really anyway, I'm getting into the bit of the weeds of it of the New Zealand trip. I'll talk about the rest on the stream, but suffice it to say the cliff notes here are seeing The Office in person and how everyone works is actually quite encouraging. The biggest spoiler I'll give you, because I know you probably want some, is 0.3 looks rather large. And other than that, a bunch of interviews are coming. Sorry about being gone for so long. I'm back to daily live streams and daily uploads and all that. But it was a 9-day trip and 31 hours of travel both ways. So it took a bit, but hey, we're back, baby.
Nice.